Morning everybody. That's assuming it's morning when you're watching this. So I suppose morning is a silly thing to say. Who cares? Anyway, we're going to have another go at this Chinese shitbox. I think we're going to try and sort the electrics out. Not a job I enjoy, but it needs doing. Basically this replacement switch here that I put on, I believe is completely wired wrong. Nothing's working, so we're going to whip that off, and then I'm not going to do it, or not going to do much of it on camera, because we're basically just going to be pinning out that plug there and then seeing where each wire goes into the control unit, and then comparing it to this one, and then hopefully trying to swap them over and get that into a position where it works. Yeah, so I'm going to whip that off. The disaster that is the GP-Z500 is just shoved in the corner there now, where it will probably stay until such time as I decide what I'm going to do with it. Perfect scenario would be to get a donor bike and then make one out of two, whether this become the donor or the one I buy become the donor, but effectively I want a GP-Z500S out of it. So if anybody knows where there may be a reasonably priced GP-Z500S with a running engine, that's obviously an essential. I'm all ears, and if it's within sort of 75 odd miles of Cambridgeshire, even better. I don't mind travelling for the right bike though. Yeah, that's yeah, that's fucked. Right, okay, let me find my little test meter, whip that off, and we'll make a start on trying to get some electrics going on this old shit box. Right then, are we sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. You've got to be of a certain age to know where that come from. Right, my test meter's dead actually, which is not going to help, and I'm hoping it's just the battery. Wife is out shopping, so I've just rung her up and said I need a battery, can you bring me one? Oh, there's a fuse in there, look. The only trouble is I can't see whether that's blown or not, and I need a test meter to find out if it's blown. But I ain't got a test meter because my test meter's knackered, because it might have a blown fuse. You see where we're going with this? I could check that battery as well, but I need a test meter. I ain't got one. Yeah, anyway, right. These are the two switches. This is the original one. They're both shit Chinese ones, but the original Chinese one is obviously far better quality than the cheap shit Chinese one. Now the cheap shit Chinese one, which is this one, is like a rip-off of a cheap shit Chinese one. It's like the Chinese have ripped off a cheap shit Chinese one. You see what I mean? Right, anyway, so what we're looking at is, for example, I don't know if you can see that, but the passing light there is a blue and a black. So if we have a look at this one, where's the passing light? The passing light's there, and I can't even see what it is. So we're going to have to take that apart a bit further, I think, to find out where the wires go. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Right. Ah. Not even connected. And that's probably why it doesn't work. Right, with the broken wires that used to go to it then. Right, let's take it apart further. Okay. And there they are, someone's just taped them up. So it is in fact black and blue on this one as well. So at least they're the same colour. But what I then have to do when I get a battery for my test meter, fuck it, is find out whether the black and blue go to the same pin at this end. In fact, I can probably check that now. Black, let's turn them so they're the same orientation, and straight away we see the problemo. So black goes to the bottom there on the cheap Chinese one, and on the original Chinese one it goes to centre bottom. So I've now got to pull the wires out. In fact, I'm going to try and de-pin all these wires and then put them back in the same order, you know what I mean, swap them all around so that the wires from the plug go to the same switch unit on that. So it's going to be a case of going through it bit by bit, pinning it out, checking what goes where and swapping them over. It's going to be boring. I'm not going to film it. I'm going to do that quietly, sitting here, and bring you guys back as and when. Right, so I will just quickly show you, if you ever have to do this, how you adjust these and get these wires out. So if you look in the end of the plug there, and that smaller part of it, it's sort of roughly T-shaped, if you see what I mean. So what you do is you poke your screwdriver, hang on a minute, is it that end? Yeah, so let's say we want to remove this orange wire here. I'm going to poke a screwdriver into the top of that and give it a pull, and what happens is it stays there. No, there you go, come off. So if you look at that terminal, I don't know how well that's going to come out, but there's like a little piece sticking up on the top there, and that's what locks it into place. So you're putting your screwdriver in and effectively pressing that down, and then it releases it from the plug, so then we can reinsert that into its appropriate place. So that's what I'm going to work on, and hopefully we'll get this wired up as it should be wired up, and we'll pop it back on and hopefully have something working. Right then, I think I've done it. It's very confusing, I've got to be honest with you, and electrics isn't one of my strong points. In fact, I'll go further than that, it's a fucking weak point. Hang on, slow petite. Okay, there was one casualty, broke a wire, but I've that one there, rejoined it with one of them low melt solder things. The yellow wire there is the equivalent of the blue wire there, so that yellow has got to be connected to blue inside the headlight shield. But anyway, it's either going to work or it's not, so we'll get that back on the bike, pop a battery on, see what happens. Cheers. Oh, lovely. I think that was a success, and the reason I say I think, so we turn the ignition on, still no ignition lights, don't know why. Left indicator is working, it's flashing twice as fast because I've got no front indicators on. Also no repeater up on the dash, so that's not working. Left side again, so that's working, so we've got more than I had before. Horn doesn't work because I haven't got a horn connected. Got the headlight just dropped on there, as you can see. Now if I press the passing light, you can see that works. I don't know if the high and low beam works at all because I've got no headlight. I think a lot of it might be down to we've got the same problem with this switch here. So what I've got to do now is whip that one off, do exactly the same thing, change all the wiring around, get it working, and I'm hoping that we're going to have working electrics. But yeah, there we go. Another step towards getting the old shit box on the road. Next job, that switch there. Okay, right, I've got the switch off the throttle side, and this one is going to be a little bit more complicated, and here's why. That's the plug on the original, that's the plug on the replacement that I've got. In addition, the new one has got 7 wires plus this tail. This one has got 6 wires plus this tail. So the extra wire on the new one is brown and white. Oh, I don't know if I can see where that actually goes to. Brown and white, here, let's go into the light switch, on off light switch. So what's this got on the light switch? And funnily enough, the light switch don't bloody work. It's one of the things that's faulty. No, it's absolutely completely different design, 100% different. So it's got a completely different switch arrangement. Yes, so let's just, I'll do my screwdriver, hang on a second. This is a complete mess inside as well. We'll whip them screws off. Just see if anything reveals itself. Now I'm sure people are wondering, why don't you just go and buy the proper switch for it? Well, they're just not about, that's why. Where's that gone? Very few people list them. I think CMPO list them, but if I remember rightly, but no stock. Nobody's got them basically. So that's got blue, brown and black. Blue, brown and black go into the light switch. This has got brown, brown and white and yellow. This is going to be quite complicated for me to change over and make work. I say for me, a competent electrician would probably be able to just figure it out, and Bob's your uncle, and there lies the problem. Competent electrician I am not. Anyway, nothing to lose. I'm going to turn the camera off, have a play around with it, see what I can come up with. Hiya, welcome back. It's several days later and I'm still fucking around with this wiring, and I've just opened the shed, got the bikes out, and it's come over fucking dark. So I think it's going to rain again. We've had nothing but fucking rain these last few days. Pissed off with it. Right, anyway, this is that replacement switch which we were messing about with the other day. There's more wires here than I've got places to put them. I've replaced the plug there off the old one, and I've put all the wires where I think they go. The problem we've got is that we have only one remaining pin location, but we have 2 cables to go in it. So what I'm going to do is just slap that on there, plug it in, see what happens, see what catches fire, see what works, see what don't work, and take it from there. By now you guys will have seen the part 2 video on this GPZ and the disaster that's taken place within the engine, and that one is dead, buried and finished. Or is it? Because I've just been shopping on eBay. Today is Sunday and I've just been shopping on eBay and I've bought something which I shall be picking up Tuesday, which hopefully may mean that this GPZ isn't dead and buried. It may well still be an ongoing project. So yeah, something exciting to pick up Tuesday. When I say exciting, you're not going to jizz your undies or anything like that. Don't get too carried away. But yeah, we could well be resuming work on that. Where was I? Yes, right. Let's get this plugged in and see what happens. Okay, plug that in. Haven't tried it yet. It is fucking raining. Typical. Not everything's going to work, obviously. Still got no dash lights. Oh, we've got a starter. And tell you what we need to do. We need to plug the fucking headlight in, don't we? What have we done with it? Let's plug that in as well. Just wait there. Right. So ignition's on. Side light. Nothing. Headlight. Nothing. So all we've got basically is the engine starter. Still got no lights or nothing. I'll tell you what though, we still haven't plugged in that yellow wire. So there's a yellow wire there. Don't know what it's for, but it comes from the left hand switch and joins to the right hand switch. So has that made a difference at all? Oh, hang on. Hey, whoa. So I've got no side light. We have got headlight. And we have got high and low beam. Does it turn off? Yes. So no side light, side light. Oh, we've got flash. Right, okay. We seem to have most things working in actual fact. So, is one of these brown wires for the side light? One wonders. And why have we got extra? I'll hold it between my knees just a second. Right. I need 2 hands here guys. I'm going to turn the camera off because I need to piss about touching these wires on things and see if anything comes to life. I'll bring you back. Right, I'm turning to you seasoned bikers out there that might be able to help me here. Now, absolutely everything is working, right? Everything. The engine kill. I'm trying to do it with one hand. There So everything's working. I've got side light now, I've got headlight, I've got high beam, I've got low. There is nothing that's not working. The other thing is, I've connected the brown and white wire, and then everything starts working. The brown on its own wire is not connected, and if we look inside here comes the rain. I don't want my Royal Enfield to get wet. If we look in here, we'll try if we can do it one-handed. That there is the switch, and then that brown wire, which is not going anywhere, is connected to the middle contact of that light switch. But like I said, everything works regardless, but I'm curious. Why is the brake lever switch doing nothing and everything works without that other wire connected, which wasn't there on the old switch, bear in mind as well. I don't know if I'm making sense, but and are the two connected? I don't mean connect. I'm confusing the fuck out myself here. Is there a coalition between the brake lever not working and the spare wire on the light switch? But probably not, because like I said, the spare wire wasn't on the old light switch anyway. So yeah, it's fine as it is. I'm probably happy to leave it to go, and you know, everything works and what have you. But curious, any of you guys know why? Right, what I'm going to do next, I think, is pop that headlight back in, even though it's fucked. Pop a pair of indicators on. I've got some old ones in the shed in the house somewhere, which probably won't stay on, but they'll do now just for the purposes of testing everything. And then we'll come back and have a look at it. Okay, right, I'm starting to put this back together. A bit boring, so I'm not filming much of it. The hole for the pin there, which is, again, is in the wrong place for the switch I'm using. So I've marked the hole here, and then it goes underneath the handlebars. I've already drilled the hole. I don't know if you can see it. If you can't, tough, take my word for it. And that does fit perfectly on that hole. It would do if I got it the right position. Let's just get that located in. There you go, that's locked in there, and then that goes on there. So same problem as the other side, although it's locked in and it can't rotate, it does move a little. It can only move that amount, so it is locked in. It can't rotate when you twist the throttle, which is the purpose of the pin. But as I did on the other side, I've just got to put a bit of tape around there. Hang on, that's slipped out again. Get back in, you bastard. Hang on. Trust me, there is a hole. There we go. So yeah. Anyway, you get the gist of it. It can't rotate, but I just want to take that little bit of play out. Okay, let's crack on. Right, I've got these cheap crappy indicators on, and they really are cheap and crappy. They're not working properly, and I think it's because, well, I know it's because they're LED. So if I turn them on and then put this side on, can't even see the bloody thing myself. There we go. So you can see it's flashing really fast. The back one's flashing the same speed as well, but if I put the other side on, and the other side I've got connected one of the old indicators, I've not got this one here connected yet, so as you can see with that one, it's flashing at the correct speed. So these are bulbs, they're LED, they're not working. The answer is to get an LED flasher unit, but if I'm going to get an LED flasher unit, I might as well just try and get hold of the proper indicator for it, and job's a good one then, isn't it? And it'll look better. Okay, Not sure what else I'm going to do today, if anything. Do need to get an headlight ordered. Do need to get the gear change and the foot peg, and oh, there's still loads to do on it, believe it or not. But I'm not going to get on with it standing here talking to you guys, am I? So let's crack on. Just realised what a div I'm being. I've connected that switch there on the brake lever. That's all on and working, by the way. Works fine. Everything works on it, almost. Yeah, the reason I'm being a div is because I said that there was to start it, and you hold the brake in to start it. That's not true, obviously. That's the brake light switch. It's on the clutch side where you're supposed to have to hold it in to be able to start the engine, but that's not working either. So either way, you don't have to hold anything in to start the engine. Not a biggie. What is a bit of a concern though is that thing that is supposed to be the brake light, I'm pretty sure it's working. So we've got no brake light on the back. Hang on, start it, see if it makes no brake light. So another one of the many things that need addressing on this. Okay, onwards and upwards. Okay, a bit more. I've turned the camera on, but I don't know why, because I'm only bolting a foot peg on. But I suppose it's marginally better than staring at the wall. And the gear change on this is very weird. In fact, I seem to remember when I took it apart there was a problem with the gear change. I don't think it was changing very well, but it was a while ago now, so we'll see. But let's get this foot peg on. That's one less job. Still got that side stand to sort out as well. That's another one. There's loads and loads of just little jobs on this, you know, the 5-minute jobs, but they all add up. I have to be perfectly honest, I'm kind of fed up with this, and the only reason I'm working on it is because I really want to get it sold and down the road, because I don't like it. I don't think I've ever liked it, and I want it gone. So, this gear change, strangest gear change I've ever seen in my life. Look at that. What the fuck's that all about, eh? Surely there's going to come up with something better than that. But it is hitting the case. So let's try and rotate that round. Okay, there it isn't. So first gear, neutral. Okay, right, I'm going to find a bolt. I'm going to bolt that on. And I might just take it for a little buzz around the garden just to see if the gears, well, set first and second gear change. I haven't got a very big garden, so I won't get far. Anyway, let me find a bolt. More shit Chinese design here. You push the gear change on and you can't get the bolt in because this is in the way. So I've got to take the front sprocket cover off simply to bolt on the gear change. Yeah, cracking design. Right, it's on, but what a fucking faff. You had to... You can't take this this gear change off without removing that. You can't remove that without taking the foot peg off as well. So what I've actually done is I've taken it on the grinder and I've reprofiled a little bit at the bottom. very minor bit. I would have showed you, but I was swearing at it. But at least now you still have to remove the sprocket cover to get the gear change off, but you don't have to remove the foot peg anymore. So yeah, that's actually a big improvement. Anyway, with regards to riding it around the garden, I can't, because I've got a small part of the clutch missing, the bit that adjusts the cable up there. I can't find it, so until I do, it's not in there, is it? No. So until I find that, I can't adjust the clutch cable, so I've got no clutch, so I can't ride it. But I've manually been through all the gears by turning the back wheel while it's on the stand, and they all appear to be there. That's assuming it's a 5-speed, which I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway, oh dear, what's next? Right, I've actually had a rummage through my bits and pieces, and I've found that missing adjuster off the clutch, so I'll put that on. So let's see what it does. Well, it works. I don't know, probably didn't see much. Shit angle and all that. Install, I think. Don't know how much petrol's in it. One thing that does work, which I didn't even think about, is the gear indicator. I'll give it a second. What's first? What's neutral? Second, third, fourth, yep, that works. The position of the gear change is appalling, but I can't see how I can have it anywhere different, short of bending it. Yeah, it does need some carb work, quite clearly. That's not running right. But yeah, it's mobile and running. Yeah, that gear change, that's fucking horrible. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's just the way it is. My preference is for that to be a lot higher, but if I make it higher, i.e. if I take that off, turn it on the spline so that this comes up higher, what actually happens is this part here knocks on the step. So that is pretty much the only position you can have it. Like I said, the only other option would be, I don't know if that's solid or not, probably is, but maybe bend it on that bend. We'll see. That's in the great scheme of things, that's fuck all to worry about. So right, I'm going to leave it there for today. I don't know whether this will be one video and I'll resume tomorrow, or whether we'll edit it up and pop it through as it is, but not that exciting, is it? I didn't really get much done, but yeah, like I said, I got a lot of enthusiasm for this one. Okay, right, we'll leave it there, catch you on the next one. Cheers.